Hey, what's up, folks? This is Jean-Claude, and I'm back in front of, behind the C8 Vet. This video is to discuss the topic of those winglets in the front bumper. GM reached out to me this morning. That video was posted 2 nights ago. GM reached out to me this morning, and one of the managers expressed a desire to get the VIN number from the car so they could backtrack the build process for this car in particular to eliminate or fix the QA process, to eliminate those screws from being left out again. I do want to say this. He did not infer, suggest, or request, kind of rhymes, that I make a video to share this information. To be candid about it, maybe he figured, well, he probably will anyways. But when something, some positivity comes from it, what does it really matter? As in, if some positivity comes from the process to fix something, to make their QA process better, and if another video is made, whatever. I'm a rabbit hole guy. Sometimes I ramble, so you'll have to forgive me. If you watch some of my other videos, you'll probably figure that out. But at any rate, I did want to mention, in light of some of the comments I've read about some disparaging comments about GM or Corvette or whatever, I think if you take a look at any manufacturer, you're going to find some similar things that happen. And I'm not talking it's crazy rare, because we work on a lot of different makes, models. We work on, the most expensive cars I've worked on are a few $1 million, and then everything from there down. Most of the cars we work on are going to be in the range of about $40,000 up to about $350,000. I know that's a pretty wide range for cars, but that's mostly what we work on. That's a Snapper Rocks Blue 2020 M5 competition, the way it's optioned, $130,000 right there. I think it's a little bit below that. That paint has some dust nibs in it. It's not awful. It's not all over the car, but there's a handful of them peppered here and there. This car had a few dust nibs in it. We have a F80 M3 in the BMW individual Daytona Violet Metallic. It had a lot of trash and dust nibs in the paint. Right when I took delivery of it from the South Carolina Performance Center, so straight from the manufacturer, and yet it had defects. I've seen brand new, highly optioned 911s with some pretty egregious stuff going on. As a matter of fact, I will put in the description below links to some videos that show some of those defects off. Now, what I've never had happen is a manufacturer watch one of my videos and reach out to me and inquire about, hey, we need information from this so we can address this or address that. That's not to say they may not have seen it and made adjustments based on what they're looking at, whether it's my video or a different video or an article that's being written online, shared. You know, there are some things we just don't know, but I know this, I haven't had any other manufacturer reach out to me and say, hey, can I have the VIN number so we can look at the process to build that car and see if there's something we can do to improve that process in particular. I don't know what all that involves. I don't know if that means putting this piece of information in front of the technician or technicians or supervisors, whomever actually would have been responsible for the build of this car, or if it means they're making changes to the actual process. Now, based on what he's telling me, it sounds like there are going to be some changes to the process. But again, there's what's unspoken, and then there's what's talked about. In terms of the build quality of the car overall, it really is great. And I'm not just saying that, but for the money, it is a lot of car. At the same time, understand that the people putting these cars together and the people putting F90 M5s together, people putting McLarens together, people putting Ferraris together, people putting Kias together, there are humans touching the car. There are humans that are overseeing processes. These people are no different than you and me. I can't speak for you, I can speak for me, and currently staff is not here because of the virus concerns, but nobody here at my own shop is perfect. There have been instances, and maybe you can relate to this, but there have been instances where I put a project, a completed, what I perceived as a completed project, back in front of the customer, and they look at it and go, oh, I mean, everything's beautiful, it's great, but what about this right here? And I look at it and I think, how the heck did we miss that? Like, how is that even possible? And I look around and go, how many sets of eyes looked at it, how many times, and we missed it? Now, we make it right, just like anything, whether somebody happens to notice something during the pickup, or they get home and they see something and either they question, they're not certain, maybe it's a limitation to what the technology or the condition of the car limits results to, or maybe it's just an outright like, whoops, wow, we missed that. Let me take care of that and make it right. You can't really ask a lot more from any company than fix something when it's wrong. By the numbers, as you deal with bigger numbers, you've got an increased chance at things getting missed. The more complicated projects are here, and I take a lot of pride in what we do, every step of how we do it, and the end product. But again, I'm the first to say we're not perfect. But I feel like we're perfect in correcting anything that's not right. And you can't ask a lot more from whether it's GM or BMW or any other manufacturer than to make adjustments, to identify there's a problem, make adjustments, and then work towards correcting those problems. And so, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm a little long-winded of a person, and there's nobody here to look at or interact with, so it's really hard, it's really impersonal to talk to a camera. So please forgive me if I ramble a little bit, but likely the same thing happens to you from time to time. And it shouldn't be a regular occurrence. There is a point where something goes from it's an honest miss, like, okay, that could happen, to there's gross negligence, you know, or just negligence. Like, come on, you know, negligence would be, you know, you drop a wash mitt on a floor and then you go right back to washing paint. You know, that's negligence. It's not a, well, hey, I'm inhuman. I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to stick a towel inside exhaust pipes and then go to the front of the car and rub on the headlights. I had no idea. Honest mistake. That's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about human error as well as by the numbers. And, you know, when you're talking about 20 to 30,000 cars getting manufactured, hey, this isn't going to be the first or last video on, well, it's definitely not the first video, but it won't be the last video of a C8 that something could have been better on. But the best thing you can do is reach out to the dealership, express to them what's in front of you. Chances are they'll probably make it right. And if they don't, run it on up the chain. Go up to General Motors. Reach out to them. I imagine they want to protect their brand. They want happy customers. Specifically with Corvette owners, how many Corvette owners have owned more than one Corvette? In my experience, many of my Corvette clients have owned the C5, the C6, the C7, and they're waiting on their C8 right now. So reach out to the dealership, and if they're not going to play nice, if you feel like they're being unreasonable, reach out to the manufacturer. But realize when your car arrives, it's not going to be perfect. Now, you don't want missing screws. You don't want screws that aren't installed far enough in a door jamb. But when it comes to certain matters, it's a matter of, see, there's some of my rambling, but there are some things, the dealership, it's not practical, it's not reasonable for them to take care of. Same with the manufacturer. If you want your paint to be free of any marring at all, any superficial defects in the clear coat, that's where you need to reach out to a paint correction specialist. If you're having paint protection film installed at the dealership level, it's reasonable that you have consistent margins around the installation. It's reasonable that you don't have debris all in the film. It's reasonable that you don't have edges popping up. Take it back to them, have them install it or correct it. If they won't, get your money back. It's reasonable for them to pull the film back off. Go to somebody else who's going to install it properly. But when it comes to wear and tear surfaces, those surfaces are going to wear, they're going to tear. When it comes to paint concerns, you're going to have some dust nibs. You're going to have some trash in your paint. You should expect that. If you want those addressed, go to a paint correction specialist or a high-line detail shop that offers paint correction. Mechanical concerns, yes, get mechanical concerns taken care of. Those would be significant concerns. But in terms of what's going on with this car, I think GM's taking the right steps. It appears they are. And it's really not a major issue. They never popped out. It was discovered. Likely the owner, the first time he washed the car, he would have discovered that they were loose as well, and it would have been taken care of. It would have been pretty tragic if he'd have taken it on the interstate and done, gone certain speeds in which they could have possibly snapped off or something. But if that were to happen, guess who's probably paying for it? GM. They'll probably take care of that, I would imagine. At any rate, thanks for watching the video. Please remain balanced in terms of when you get your car. It doesn't matter what your car costs. They're not going to be perfect. But there are companies that can help get you closer to perfection in terms of the aesthetics. Here's a shameless plug for what we do. We do the paint correction, we do the coatings, the ceramic coatings, paint protection film installations. I mean, that's what this car is getting. The infrared lamp is going right now. It's a part of the baking process for the ceramic coating. But at any rate, thanks for watching the video, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions or concerns about anything related to the topic or any of those other subjects. And hope you guys are having a great week. We'll see you around.